Welcome back to Spin Magazines. I'm with the members of Royel Otis. Royel and Otis, how are you guys?
Good, man.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
You've been on a whirlwind kind of tour, so to speak, playing like bars everywhere. It's this kind of guerrilla marketing, which is awesome. You played Ray's Bar the other night.
Yeah.
Do you like what's happening like in music now when bands are playing? I don't know if you saw what the Rejects are doing when they're playing all these like college campuses.
I saw that. That is cool. I think that's rad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Getting out there.
It's good connecting with the fans and the audience. It's good.
Doing free shows and stuff. you
Yeah.
know?
It's intimate.
It's almost like there's so much noise these days. To cut through it, you got to do different things, right? So it's
Sure.
like, because one of the places you played at in LA, the Red Line, I think you kind of wrote the record there.
No.
No.
I mean, that's a...
It's a fallacy, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there a lot during the record.
Okay.
But,
We wrote the record all around LA.
all
Yeah.
around.
Because I was
All
wondering,
over.
like, how do you write a record in a pub, if that was the truth?
Well, our first album, Pratts Pain, we wrote most of that record in a pub.
In a pub?
Yeah, that was in a London pub.
So how,
We
is
named
it
after- We
open?
named it after the pub. No, the pub's closed.
It closed after we released the
Yeah.
album.
Didn't do well for us all then.
But meaning, like, were you actually writing, like, during the day, or were you waiting for the club to close at night?
Lyrics, like,
Okay.
if we got stuck on lyrics, we just go to the pub and have a beer and just throw ideas at each other.
Have a Guinness.
Play some trivia. Yeah, it was a nice little like cozy pub.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You're riding the wave of all this incredible music coming out of Australia. Do you have favorite bands that are coming out right now? Like Amyl and the Sniffers are great.
Love
Amyl
Amyl.
were great.
Yeah.
Super sick.
I mean, and Amyl and the Sniffers.
yeah. Radio Free Alice are really cool.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Le
Sex
Chiv.
Mask, Le Chiv. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of.
Tame Impala, right? We got to talk about them.
Yeah, they're
Come
coming
on.
up.
They're done.
They're
They're
coming
done.
up.
They're
They're on their way up. Huh?
Weird name.
And in terms of like, because obviously you've been spending a lot of time away from home now, right? You were in LA, I think, for like 4 or 5 months recently, right? Just writing this new record.
Yeah.
Do you find that LA is kind of similar to Australia? Is it almost like a second home to you?
It's too spread apart
Right.
to be similar to like Sydney. I'd find like New York a little bit more like Melbourne.
New
or
York's a bit
Sydney,
like Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah.
LA kind of is like Sydney, but in Sydney you can still walk places, I find. In
Yeah.
LA, unless you're, I don't know, in Silver Lake somewhere, you can walk places, but most places you're kind of left to driving
You gotta
a
drive,
car
like-
somewhere.
Yeah, I spoke about this on the last podcast, but it's funny. When I went to Australia years ago, and I found that there's a lot of places very similar to places in America, but with different names. Like instead of Mr. Chow's, there's like Mr. Kinda Chow's or something, or like
Sure,
very
yeah.
similar. And they're like, maybe it's so far away that people aren't going to notice. Do you find there's a lot of similar places when you come to the stage? You're like, that place is like the place we have at Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you guys got Burger King, and we call it Hungry Jack's.
We
Hungry
call it
Jack's.
Hungry
Hungry
Jack's.
Jack's,
It's the
yeah.
same
But
thing.
the
Same thing.
Exact
Yeah.
same thing.
Now, do you think that the people at Burger King don't know, or are they just like, they won't find out?
I think it's the same company.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
They've just like, I don't know what happened. Something
Something to
happened.
do with the rights to the name or something?
Yeah.
They were like, this Burger King name is not going to
Yeah.
work in Australia.
Yeah.
It was funny because, like, you know how Macca's has the Big Mac? So our Hungry Jacks tried to release a burger called the Big Jack. It
Didn't
was, like,
work.
the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like asking for a problem, you know?
Amazing. When you think about LA, do you kind of relate to what's going on there? I heard this great story about you going to Lil Nas X's house for like a party. It's
Yeah.
weird there because I lived there for half my life. I'm always back and forth, but it is a weird culture, right? Was that
Yeah.
party like something that you were like comfortable at? Or was it weird?
That was weird for us because
Yeah, we were well out of place because we
yeah.
were so nervous.
it was also the first. It was like a year, maybe 2 years ago, but it was the first time we kind of had been to like I don't know,
Yeah.
LA,
Like a
kind of,
celebrity
yeah,
party or something?
LA, and just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like I feel like it was the first week of being there.
But take me back to the beginning. What did your parents do when you were growing up? What kind of music were you really into? And what were they into growing up? What'd you listen to?
Man, my dad was doing like deliveries for a fruit and vegetable company, and my mom was just like a single mom. So I'm not sure. And then she started working for a disability center, looking after kids whose parents had abandoned them with disabilities.
Mm.
And then she became a nurse, and yeah, and my dad started like opening bars or working in bars, and then started opening bars or restaurants, and then yeah, now he just works in a bar in Bondi.
Are these bars that you played at ever?
No,
No.
it was like, when I was like younger, I would
Yeah.
play just like acoustic sets and try to sing.
What about you? What did your parents do growing up?
My dad, he was a plumber,
Mm.
so he was
Still is.
No, he's kind of chilled out a bit. He'll do
really?
the odd job and stuff. But yeah, he was a plumber, and then mum just kind of looked after me and my sister until about, I think when I was about 14 maybe, she started working on her own like skincare business and like
Amazing.
skincare and gut health and stuff. She's very passionate about like that kind of stuff.
Were they interested in this career path you had? I mean, obviously I want to talk about how you met, but when
Yeah.
you first got into music, were they supportive?
Like mum, yeah, they were always pushing me. They were like,
Mm.
you love music, you like to write songs and do it. Why don't you just like try to do something with it? Just like never being like, this is like you have to do this or whatever. Just being like, you love it, give it a crack.
Follow it.
Yeah, and I think when I finished school, like there was a point where I was like, I don't really know what I'm like keen to be doing. Like I was working at a cafe or something, and they're like, just like try to give music a crack. And I just met a friend and just started recording some stuff, and then met Roy.
Yeah.
But they actually suggested you get into music, which is rare, right? Because my parents were like, get a job. I'm like, I have a job. I play
Yeah.
drums.
Well, yeah.
They're like, that's not a job.
Well, I still had to. My dad was like, whatever. He's like, you gotta make money. You gotta like have a job, but like, but try. Also, if you can, try to do something you love.
Yeah.
My dad was also an aspiring actor, and he did a couple of like ads, here and there, which were really funny. Like he did a Foster's beer ad, which is the most Australian thing ever, even though I've never even seen a Foster's beer. But they were always really supportive. But he was like, but if if you want to do music, then just come to the bar and play music.
Yeah.
So,
And just keep it at that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you met him. It wasn't this big romantic thing in terms of people talk about these stories about we were skydiving, right?
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of
There's a
different
little
stories,
bit of
so-
that is true. Like at the time,
No.
we were pretty drunk.
Yeah. Well.
You're at a bar, you're drunk.
Yeah. We met a few times just through like mutual friends and stuff, and just would cross paths, but never really sit down and have a chat. And then I think one night we were just talking, just sitting down, and then I was like, Troy, I got some music if you want to check it out. And then he checked it out, and then kind of went from there. I think, yeah.
I
But
sent you a couple of
you sent me
demos
some
after
songs,
that.
yeah, demos, and then 2 months later, we just started making some music.
Was it also like your love of bands like The Cure and The Smiths and some of the UK stuff that was going on at the
Yeah.
time?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we were talking about, like, before we even started really making music, we were like, yeah, it could sound like this, mixed with this, and like,
Yeah,
we're kind of just like,
What were those references that you early on that you were talking
man,
about?
There was a lot.
The Cure,
Yeah.
Cure,
Cleaners from Venus.
Cleaners from Venus, and then like that song Seabird by the Illicity Brothers was
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
around a lot. And then even like some like pop stuff, like it was like elements of The Weeknd and like Daft Punk, but I remember was getting mentioned a lot.
Kylie Minogue, maybe.
Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, right?
Yeah.
100%.
And I've heard you mention the Jungle Book. It was like,
yeah,
do you
Yeah.
like Disney? I like Disney. It's that kind of thing.
I love
Oh, Disney.
when growing up during like there was a McDonald's meal, like a Happy Meal, and you would get like a Disney classic, like all the hits from Disney films, like cassette. And so when my dad would pick me up to go to his place for the weekend, we would like just play that and sing along to it. So it's,
And that's where your love of Disney came in.
yeah, 100%. I know, fucking back to back, man.
But the Smiths and the Cure, I mean, the Cure is still making great records today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the new record.
I
It's
have,
phenomenal,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's
cool.
So that
really
was obviously
sick.
something that really bonded you guys together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like, I don't know, Cure stuff's undeniable, and that was stuff like my parents would play a lot
Yeah.
growing up. I remember my
Mine
dad
too.
showing me the Cure and the Pixies and that kind of world too.
And you start writing music, and then all of a sudden you kind of think to yourselves, maybe this is just going to be like a bedroom project. We're not going to play live.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Why
I mean-
so? Just because you were nervous about playing live? Or?
I mean, it was mid-COVID.
Yeah.
Like, it was mid-lockdown. And, yeah, it's just so much funner to just focus
Stay at
on
home.
writing the
Yeah.
music and, yeah, just, like, having fun with it and not worrying about, like, the production too much or how big it could be or anything
Yeah.
like that. And just being like, this is fun, you know?
Was there a moment, though, that you knew, I think this is really clicking? Maybe it was Oysters. Was there a song what you said, you know what, I think this is going to go out of the bedroom and we might start to play this live?
I think it was Oysters.
Oysters.
What Oysters did it for, I feel like, yeah, also probably for like the outside world as well, but I feel like from when we were writing demos and New Sunroom and stuff, I felt like Wait and stuff, that was
Yeah,
songs
Wait.
that I thought could
was
felt
really-
felt felt good, felt right.
Are you playing the music for your friends and family and they're saying, don't quit your day jobs, or they're saying, I think this is going to be it for you guys, you should pursue this?
My friends and family were always supportive as well.
Yeah.
They were saying keep your day job, but keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Did you have any jobs growing up, or that you were doing while you were doing this?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I've worked in a bunch of bars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
Which feels like a good job if you're a
That's-
musician, right?
I mean, it's kind of like, because you hear a lot of music, but you start at like 5 p.m. and finish at like 5 a.m. So you kind of just sleep for the only like part that you could be able to work on music.
Yeah.
And also you don't have to finish at 5 a.m. That was like a choice at the time, because you just get carried away after you close, have a lock-in, listen to music and stuff.
Definitely. I noticed at some point you said, I'm going to just jet off to Italy. I think the band's starting to take off, but this feels like a good idea right now.
Oh, no, so when I finished school, I was working, and then me and my mate, we saved up to go on like a 2-month, like kind of like gap. In Australia it's called gap year.
Yeah.
So I think like the week before I met Roy, the week after I met Roy, I left and went to Italy for 2 months with him. We just went around like backpack, stayed in hostels and
Amazing.
With his cousin?
no, with Toby.
With Toby?
Yeah,
not with me. It's
No,
like,
no, with you, no.
Yeah,
No,
no.
you're
I wish.
Yeah.
I was still in the
Still the
bar
bar.
trying to save up, but spending it all at the bar.
Yeah. And the first shows that you guys grew up listening to, was it like Cat Power maybe? Was that one of your
love
first shows?
Cat Power.
Yeah, I remember going to went to Mazzy Star at the Opera House. and,
Yeah.
Brian Jonestown Massacre.
yeah.
Fade Into You. What a great song. What a great
Yeah.
cover you do.
Oh sure, I don't.
I
think
forgot about
we
that.
did that. Yeah.
Yeah. I might coax
Such-
you later and ask you to.
Yeah. yeah.
By the way, we're doing the first thing. We've never had a band perform live on the show, so I'm really excited.
really?
A little bit later, we're going to play a few songs.
Sick.
I think we're getting into playing some of the new record that you have coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But talk to me about kind of taking it back a little bit. So you mentioned Cat Power. What was your first show that you went to back in the day, Royel?
The first show I went to was The Vines.
Amazing band, yeah.
Who were incredible.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, my high school band, the first tour I ever went on with was with The Vines.
Is the
With-
singer's name Daniel, I believe?
No.
Silverchair. I'm thinking of Silverchair,
Silverchair.
right.
Yeah,
Craig.
Daniel Johns.
Daniel Johns,
Craig
right.
Nichols.
Right. And
Um,
are they still around the Vines or not really? There?
I think so. I think they still tour. And I know a bunch of people who have been in their like touring party, constantly changing up.
Yeah.
But also Daniel, I've met Daniel as well. Daniel Johns. He's a sweetheart. So that whole thing was surreal. Like the first band I ever saw live was the first band I ever toured with live.
Amazing. Silverchair is interesting, right? Because they have this like crazy cult status in Australia. They were kind of big here, but they were almost like godlike status in Australia, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if people still regard them. I see things online now that he's doing, but
Australian classic kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
But the
thing.
crazy, well, they were like 14 as well,
So
or
young.
15. And it's like crazy to see them. And with his voice, it's an incredible voice. But they toured the whole world. I think the whole world, or at least the States, with the Red Hot Chili Peppers when they were like so young.
That's right.
So it's-
14. Can you imagine like going on tour at 14?
insane.
It'd be
I mean, think about how
terrifying.
hard it is now, right? To do it at
Insane.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he's a little bit weird, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be.
I think he came back home and had a bit of troubles. But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think people gave him a hard time as well. Just,
Yeah,
like, from
I
his
think
own-
so.
Yeah.
So the first song that really connected, we spoke about Oysters, and I love the stories behind the songs. I think that song is a little bit kind of referencing Bowie and the fact that he kind of was like riding around in like limousines or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
when he
yeah,
really
yeah.
couldn't afford it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
100%.
Tell me the story behind that song. What a great song and what a great story.
That was pretty much it. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about, I mean, we went to go buy oysters.
Yeah.
And they didn't have oysters, weirdly.
Yeah, there's like a supermarket in Australia called IGA, and where we were recording, there was apparently oysters at this place. Chris
And
Collins.
there's it's by the way, it's not like a common thing to sell oysters at IGA,
No.
Right.
but this one
This
in
one place had it,
particular-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was weird because we recorded our first EP, and went through a whole thing with that, which was good, and it was a process, and we learned a bunch of stuff. But then when we went to Byron, worked with Chris Collins, it was just like there was an element of just like, I don't know, we're just that kind of Bowie thing, just being like, we're in this position, we're making music, but let's just pretend like everything's alright in this song, and just like it's like whatever happens happens. And
Yeah.
I remember it was like a time where we were just having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it was just like legitimately like, let's not think about pressure, because the pressure, you know, that's
Gets me too much.
miles away. Or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, oh,
you
well.
know. Or,
When you think
Yeah.
about it now, and the song has something like 200 million streams or something like that, did you think it was going to connect with
Yeah.
audiences the way it did?
nope.
You just kinda put it
not
out
at
there.
all, yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
amazing when songs do that, right? Because even when you did like Linger and Murder on the Dance Floor, I know some of those songs were just sort of like an afterthought, right? It was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll practice for a half an hour and then
For sure.
it'll get 1 billion streams.
For sure,
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
don't-
yeah.
yeah, you can never really.
Yeah, you never quite know.
No.
Does the process change from like your first EP to how you record this new record? I mean, I think that you both work separately too, and then bring ideas to the band.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit of both of that. Sometimes we just like try something in the studio all together, or we bring something separately.
Yeah.
But I think the process now is much more like, we're much more conscious. Like we were saying before, we started wanting to be just like a bedroom band, you know.
Mm.
But now we're a lot more conscious of what might hit harder when
Yeah.
we play it live.
Probably more, I feel like more efficient with the way we work. Like,
Definitely more
Yeah.
efficient.
yeah, learn how to just be like, I don't know, have an idea and get it going, and normally have a song out by the end of the day kind of vibe.
Mm.
Rough song, but an idea and a structure.
And when a song like Oysters hits like it did, do you feel like a pressure to follow it up with another? I mean, I think you likened it to like Under the Bridge by the Chili Peppers, right? Do you find this like pressure, like, all right, we got to come up with another banger, right? Do you feel that pressure or not really?
I mean, we've worked with a bunch of people who have said, let's make another Oysters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just, yeah,
Let's do it part two.
It's,
but-
yeah,
You like, I
that's
already
not
did
how
that
it
song.
works, though.
Right,
Yeah, it's
right.
You
impossible,
can't, you
yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
you can't really, yeah.
Even when you work with writers, because I actually didn't know that Greg Alexander, who's actually the New Radicals are one of my favorite bands. A lot of
right.
people don't know that he helped write that song. Even
Yeah.
when you worked on a song like that, again, like just taking it back a minute, you really didn't know. Like, tell me how that came about, because it was sort of like an afterthought in a way, right? Murder on the Dance Floor.
Yeah, we actually met Greg in London.
Yeah.
He's
Wait,
a
and
nice
have you
guy.
heard his demo of it?
I haven't,
That's
but I love his
amazing.
songwriting.
So
I think
sick.
it's incredible.
That's
New Radicals are
amazing.
so underrated.
Yeah. His demo of it's incredible.
Really?
So different.
Well, now I'm going to listen to it, because
Yeah.
now that you said that, it's probably amazing. What is it like? Is it a bit more rock or
It's like a mix between You Only Get What You Give.
Oh,
and
right.
Like
amazing?
Murder on the Dance
Yeah,
Floor.
yeah,
Mhm.
amazing. So you
Yeah.
heard the song, and how did it come about that you decided to just try it out? I mean, obviously Saltburn, right?
Yeah.
But we weren't even thinking about doing that song. Like, it came up in conversation, I think, 3 months earlier. But the day before, we were rehearsing for the Like a Version, and we were trying a bunch of different songs, and then
We were trying like Kylie Minogue.
Kylie, The
Hives.
Hives,
like-
Build Me Up Buttercup wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I love that song. That song's so sick. But and then someone came in. I think it was like Clip came in and was like, just try this song.
Yeah.
Um,
Which Maddie suggested
Suggested earlier, yeah,
early-
3 months earlier.
like way earlier in the year.
And we tried it, and we're like,
We're
this will
out
work.
of time.
This will
so
work.
let's
Yeah,
try.
this will work. And then, yeah, it was fine. I remember I left the rehearsal and got dinner with my family, and I told them I was like, we're doing Murder on the Dance Floor. They're like, bad idea. Like, why are you doing that song? It's not gonna.
Because you saw the movie. I mean, the movie was great. I
Movie
was a
was
fan of
awesome.
Saltburn.
So good.
But and the song really fit the movie. But on
Yeah.
its own, did you think it's not really the right DNA for us? It just didn't feel right.
I've always loved that
Love the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought, maybe they just thought it wouldn't really
Yeah,
work with.
I got to hear his version, Greg's version. 'cause-
Yeah. I love that whole era of music, that like weird early 2000s disco sort of thing. Like Kylie Minogue's like Fever album
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah, what are some other artists from that era that you think didn't get
Jamiroquai.
Jamiroquai, right?
Yeah.
Huge in the UK, never really broke as much in the US.
In
I
the
don't think.
US?
And
Man.
broke, but not to the extent that it did in the UK, I don't think. But Murder on the Dance Floor topped like every chart in the world, became this cultural zeitgeist moment. Did you ever think it would take off like the way it did and that would happen?
No.
No,
Right.
No idea.
we were contemplating being like, let's strike it.
Yeah.
Let's just say no one release it. And
Yeah.
But,
And then
you know,
obviously the fans really respond to your own stuff, but also Linger hit it out of the park. And do you sometimes struggle with the fact that, we should keep doing these songs? Because obviously it's also working, but people are really responding to your own music too. Is that a little bit of a internal struggle at any point for you?
Not really. Like, I love those songs. And
Yeah.
I love, like, Linger is such a good song.
Incredible song.
Yeah.
Cranberries all together. It's just delicious.
So not really. I guess, like, if people, like, I don't know, there was a point where people were going, they're just a cover band, but I don't know, we're not. Like, we write our own music as well. But it's also nice, like, I don't know, paying respect to those bands.
Totally.
Yeah.
I always talk about the fact that when I do play with Courtney, people want us to play doll parts and she hates that song. And then I heard someone mention the fact that MGMT didn't play, like they didn't play their biggest hit. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's hard sometimes because you want to play the songs that obviously everyone wants to hear, but you also want to be inspired. Right.
Exactly.
So do you ever struggle with just making the set list at this point? Now you're going to have a couple records worth of material and the covers. And is it a struggle, especially with the new songs coming out?
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. You definitely got to fit it in.
Yeah.
Fit it in.
Also, I love doll parts. Like,
Well, you mentioned it, which I didn't know, that one of your songs had mentioned Courtney, which I had no idea about.
Yeah.
And apparently she posted it. So talk to me about that because I had no idea.
Bullbreed.
Same time we were writing Oysters, around the same time.
Mm.
And they're kind of quite similar in the way we were writing them.
Yeah.
I think they were both in the same day almost.
Yeah.
But that was like a
What's the lyric specifically?
smoking all the cigarettes like she be Courtney Love.
She does smoke some cigarettes.
Yeah. But also like, if someone else is just taking the cigarettes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Who do you think you are, Courtney Love? Like, come on.
And apparently she heard it and she posted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She reposted it.
Are there any songs that you feel like you could cover that you haven't gotten into? We talked about the fact you did fade into Mazzy Star, and obviously a great, great cover. But are there songs like besides that you're like, if we were going to do this again, obviously we have our whole new record we're talking about here. But are there songs that you still feel like are kind of could be reinvented in a way?
Whenever I hear like Nelly Furtado, I always just go.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just like. I cover
Like
it.
a bird? Which song? Is it?
Let's say it.
There's Say It Right, Promiscuous.
Oh, right.
Promiscuous.
Okay. Yeah.
All good things come to an end.
Yeah.
I think Tame Impala did say it right.
Yeah. True. Done.
Because even in a way, like Linger, it gives such a second life to that song. It's such an incredible song, and obviously the Cranberries did it great. But then you guys do it, and then it breathes a whole nother life into the song, and people maybe, there's so many bands now that sound like, right? There's a million bands now that sound like the Strokes, and and I guess when kids are growing up, sometimes maybe if they're too young, they didn't know the Strokes.
Yeah,
this is new music to us, but there's probably a new generation that maybe never heard Linger by the Cranberries.
Yeah, or they've heard it like once in passing. And then just kind of,
Totally.
I think also, to us, it was kind of terrifying because it's one of those songs. There's like songs throughout time that I think should never be covered.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, like Smells Like Teen Spirit, for example. Or like...
Well, that I think would be almost sacrilegious if you
Exactly,
record that.
yes.
I mean, I almost feel like you can't record that because
No,
it's
yeah.
I don't know if you could do it better, but...
Or like This Charming Man by the Smiths.
Yeah, that's a hard one too.
Mm.
But I think if you reinvent music and do it in your own way, like I said, it breathes a whole nother life. But
yeah, no, what we really did was just simplify it.
Yeah.
Just stripped it.
and it's incredible.
Stripped it down.
And it did amazing for you. But let's talk about the first record, Pratts Pain. How'd you meet Dan Carey? Obviously not the drummer of Tool, because the drummer of Tool's name is Dan Carey too. And talk to me about how you guys met and how that first record started taking shape for you.
We met Dan, and I think we were in the UK for like a week or two, and we're just doing sessions with different producers, and then we met Dan, and he was just such a nice guy. He's just a character.
Yeah,
he's a character.
You hit it off right away. Were you meeting a lot of producers? Were you sort of auditioning?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. Were there certain ones that you had your eye on that you're like, we want to work with Butch Vig or whoever it is?
Yeah, I think on one of the sessions we did a song with James Ford, which actually ended up being on on the album.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Molly. But Dan was he was sweet, and he's got like such a nice family. He's got a little dog, and he's
little Poppy.
Yeah.
Poppy.
And he's done some great records like Wet Leg, Fontaines, right?
Fontaines.
Yeah.
Like it was really intimidating working with him at first. It still is. Like, you know, if when I speak to him a lot, and we get dinner whenever I'm in London, or when we're in London, and he's just like, he's got this like really mean look, but he's the sweetest guy ever, you know? Yeah.
He's got like intense eyes.
He's so caring,
Yeah.
and so he's this guy packed full of empathy, and I think that's why he does such great music.
Did he push you in the studio to do things differently than you normally would have? Were there different approaches to recording that record?
It was very experimental. His
Yeah.
studio was crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was just a wall of, like, when first you walk in, it looks just like an entire wall of buttons that are
Amazing.
flashing and blinking,
Yeah.
and he's there like hitting all these different things, and there's like but then you realize you just don't know much about synths and like
Modulars. And
modulators.
Are there tracks on that record that almost didn't make the record that became like fan favorites at some of your shows?
I feel like not really.
No, that one was
Yeah.
like all definitely.
Everything we kind of did. I think we cut 2 songs of what we originally
Yeah.
wrote, but that was it.
And then you did the deluxe version,
Yeah.
right? And that
Yeah.
had songs that you recorded at different sessions,
We
right?
recorded some of those in Byron Bay with Chris.
Yeah.
With Chris
definitely.
Barnes.
And
Yeah.
this record, let's talk about this new record that you have coming out, right? I mean, there's a whole different process in the way you record it, not in bars, I imagine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you
still worked
yeah.
on some lyrics in the
I was chilling.
Otis.
I was-
You stopped drinking for a bit.
Yeah. It's a few months off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
just
what's the
during
process like on this record? Are you working on stuff at your house? Are you working on stuff at your house and then you just sort of send each other music, or do you get together and actually work on the songs?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. This one, yeah. I feel like when we were doing, just because of like the time frame and stuff, we kind of just like do stuff at home in the afternoons or at night, and then meet up in the studio the next day and
Yeah.
show each other's ideas.
We
Well-
were also working with a bunch of different producers who
Yeah.
kind of, wanted to do something spontaneous.
Mm.
So
Yeah. And we also worked with songwriters.
And
which-
writers, right?
which
Which you had never done before.
No.
never.
Yeah.
Worked with Amy Allen, Billy Walsh, Will Blake and Omar.
Like an Omar.
Yeah.
You were
guys
fans of their work, I assume, right?
Jungle.
They've done incredible work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. All of
Yeah.
them. They're great.
Is it different working with outside songwriters versus just the two of you?
Massively.
It is
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
In what way?
I don't know. Just like, I feel like, in a studio, everyone has to have a voice. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can sometimes, you just got to go around and you kind of got to try everything out until it works. And even if it doesn't work, you got to try it out kind of vibe. I feel like normally if it's just us two, it's a bit quicker. It's a bit more to the point.
Yeah, and we don't like we try to just have fun with lyrics rather than like making sure it's a really clear what's the
Yeah,
word?
because sometimes you'll get into like you work with songwriters and they'll be like, "What are we writing this about? Like, let's have a subject and let's like write about something." And I feel like the way we normally write is like, let's write about like
That sounds cool.
stuffing
What's-
oysters in your mouth. And, like,
Yeah.
But
Is it sometimes hard when people like hyper analyze the lyrics? Because you just write, sometimes you just write off the cuff, and you're working with
Yeah.
songwriters like Amy Allen who work with amazing people, Harry Styles to whoever, right?
Yeah.
And they have their own perspectives.
Yeah.
But then you put it online and the whole world like picks apart. What does this lyric mean? What does that
Exactly.
mean? And,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
what does car mean? What does moody mean, right? Is it hard to
Exactly.
kind of put it out there in the world after you work so hard and everyone's like, everyone hyper analyzes everything online.
For
TikTok's
sure.
the worst, by the way, because everyone has
Yeah.
like an opinion. I'm like,
Yeah,
keep your opinion to yourself.
exactly, that's
Yeah.
just the world.
Yeah, it's the world we live in.
Yeah.
So do you prefer, is that process a little bit like speed dating when you're working with different writers?
Massively. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Because what happened? You get in the room with them and just...
Yeah.
Well, I think it takes at least one day to get to know like a songwriter or a producer.
yeah.
So it is so hard to like do 2 days with someone and then 2 days with someone else. It's just like 1 day minimum
Yeah.
with someone just to get to know them and like understand each other's like sense of humor and
Yeah.
personality and like
But it is incredible though. Like, you worked with Josh and Lydia from
Sure.
Jungle,
Yeah.
and Amy as well. And like, just like, I don't know. Sometimes they just throw out ideas that you wouldn't think of or things
Yeah,
you wouldn't hear, and
completely.
you're just like, nice.
Are there certain writers that you got in a room with and you're like, this isn't going to work? Like just vibe-wise, it was off right away?
Yeah.
We don't have to name names.
yeah,
but
I was
just
gonna say.
I mean, Tell me the story behind Moody, because this whole record to me feels like summer. I don't know. It feels like the album of the summer. Every song has this like uplifting summer vibe. I mean, not to say you're not going to listen to it in winter, but it has a sensibility to me that very much feels like summer. So when you're writing a song like Moody, and again, sort of the stories behind that, I know you work with Amy on that song.
Yeah.
You know, tell me the sort of the sentiment when you're starting to create a song like that. Were you vibing like I was on the summer? Or were you just thinking, you know, it's about young love? And
It was funny because that was the first time we met Amy, and
First time we ever worked with a songwriter.
songwriter as well, yeah. And I think where you were just playing some chords on guitar, and then her initial like thought was just like throw this like My Girls at when she's Moody.
Yeah.
And she was like, let's like, and we just let's just
ran with
write
it, yeah.
right around that.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of, we started throwing ideas around and melodies and but it's got a summery feel, like a 90s.
definitely.
Yeah, it's everyone always says it's like a loser back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think your most successful song to date, which has got to feel good because the record's rolling out, right? Tell me how this record kind of evolves sonically from the last record, Pratts Pain.
A bit more realized, I think, and like
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, I guess realized, like sonic, like it's bigger.
it's bigger, it's like cleaner. Like Pratts Pain felt like more of like a chaotic kind of time. I feel
Which
like
I
there's-
love.
Yeah, like in that record, it was just there's a lot of chaos going on, and I think at the time, that's kind of how we were feeling.
Yeah,
But this one maybe feels a bit more just I don't know,
yeah. Like we were saying before,
more
just
polished.
more towards how it would like translate live.
I love the branding on this record. Even when you're playing live, I saw a video from the Troubadour, which I played, and I love that venue. I think you sold it out within like minutes. Or even behind you, it'll be like, this is a song. Or I know you write notes, right, Royel, to sort of like kind of out there in the world and probably something that you weren't used to doing. Yeah. But it's really cool, the marketing behind this record and how you have this subliminal, I don't know what you call it, but almost like messaging, but like understated, right? Yeah. So if you talk to me a little bit about the branding and the marketing of this record and the branding of the band, I guess, right?
That's a massive amount to do with like our entire team that are behind us, that are incredible and just always do an incredible job. And also Adi Nashoda, who has been like working with us doing our art direction from day dot pretty much. And that was her idea, to have everything so like blatant and obvious. And
yeah, because for people who haven't seen you, talk a little bit about like the messaging behind the band when you go on stage. It says really funny little quirky things, right?
This is a I don't know, a song.
This is simple. A venue the band is about to play. It's almost like,
I think one of them is this is a shout to the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
And how did that note come about that you sort of write every
The letter
night?
from Roy?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whose idea that was, whether it was like Jamison, who he's here right there.
Oh yeah.
He comes with it.
There he is. He magically appeared.
Yeah. He comes with, was that your idea, Gemma? Whose was it? Chinny or Jesse?
Yeah.
There's a song called Letter from Roy.
Yeah.
On one of our earlier EPs.
And they were like, you should write a letter to someone every night. And some of them got really dark that we had to like
cut them out.
Like one of them was bad.
So there's like a proofreader to the notes.
Yeah.
There is.
Well,
okay.
Jammer's the proofreader.
Yeah. Talk to me about a little bit about the live performance. We were just talking about the gigs, but you know, I still get nervous when I perform, Roy, and I think that you get super nervous when I understand, and maybe even sort of throw up before every gig, because I get so nervous sometimes I can't play, and sometimes if it's a festival and I'm like, this is going to be very bad if I don't play. Yeah. But does that happen to you both?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like.
You show nervousness in a different way to what I do.
Yeah,
Well, how do you show it?
I kind of like. Just kind of go in with it, right?
You hide in the corner of the ball.
We'll kind of think about stuff. But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of the shows last year was like boozing and stuff and drinking before, and then some of these shows we've been doing recently, I was like, I'm gonna give it a crack without doing that. And like, that's a different vibe too. completely different vibe.
Because early on there was some weird gigs, right? Didn't you play in like a chicken shop? I mean, every band has like weird gigs they play.
Yeah, how'd
right?
you know about that chicken shop?
Everyone knows about the chicken shop.
That was crazy. It was just my little brother and he's like 3 friends.
Yeah.
What is it? Meaning a place that like you buy like rotisserie chickens? Or
It's
No,
just all
no.
different sorts of chicken
It's like a
wings.
chicken wing place.
Okay, and
It's
how
like
do
a
you get a
restaurant.
gig at a chicken wing place?
Man, I
Is
got
it-
no
Ask
idea.
our old booking agent.
No idea.
Like, I got this great gig for you. It's at a chicken shop.
Yeah.
But you go from there to like selling out venues now, 3,000 people, sold out nights everywhere. And again, you're doing these pop-up things as part of the marketing. But like, how does it feel? I mean, again, just the idea of getting nervous and something I think even Mick Jagger gets nervous still when he
Yeah.
plays. I asked him once.
You know, someone was telling us that.
Yeah.
Baz Luhrmann was telling us that.
Yeah.
They're good friends. And
Yeah.
he was saying how he gets so... and it's like, you know, you picture Mick Jagger. It's just
Yeah.
all the swagger from Mick Jagger, you know?
Yeah.
And he gets
And the
nervous.
confidence and stuff. But he's like, even after the show, he's like, how was that? Was that...
Yeah,
all
he's
right?"
like that. I had the
Yeah.
pleasure of asking him that too, and he said, "Yeah, I was like, you like then
Yeah.
how am I going to do it? You know?"
Yeah.
But are you more comfortable now on stage after tour? I think you did something
Yeah.
crazy like 160 shows like the year before or something.
Yeah.
You've done so many shows. Feels like you're constantly on the road. Do you get less nervous now and more comfortable in your skin?
By the end of last year, I think we were a lot more comfortable in our skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many shows. But then even having like 3 months off and then playing the shows at the Troubadour, I was getting pretty nervous before.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think just having like being able to maneuver the nervousness into bless you, into like excitement, or try to focus on being excited rather than completely nervous,
Yeah.
I think is important, and just staying hydrated.
Do you prefer like the festivals where you can, because you're playing Gub Ball coming up this weekend, and
yeah.
I'll be there, we'll be there.
Sick.
But do you prefer that where you can't really see people and it's like a sea of heads, or do you prefer like the intimate shows?
I prefer the intimate shows personally because you get more of a sound check and everything, and to make sure everything's all right.
Yeah.
The intimate ones where it's just like friends and family, they're kind of always throwing me a bit. I don't know why. Like performing to people I don't know.
The best audiences maybe that you ever played for were what places like?
Salt Shed in Chicago.
Yeah. Paris. Last time we were in Paris was crazy. Really sick, yeah. Germany, people in Germany go crazy as well, which is funny.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think, but
A lot of beer being
a lot of beer,
drank
true.
there,
Maybe
Yeah.
that's just it.
A lot of moshing. They like to mosh.
I heard someone mention Liverpool maybe?
Liverpool.
Liverpool
Yeah.
was fun.
Home
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
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 Does that seep into how you wrote this new record? That energy of what you spent so many days touring and so many gigs last year. When you're working on this new record, do you feel like all those gigs kind of seeped into the writing, like fan moments, life experiences, things like that?
For sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just understanding what songs seem to kick off live, or what, or when to like bring the crowd down a little bit with like a ballad, like Till the Morning or something like that.
Are you surprised by any crazy fan encounters where they're like, "Hey, I got this tattoo of you," like anything weird?
The tattoo ones are crazy.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
So what have you already experienced that? People have like a ton of like
or they
tattoos.
just draw something on my arm.
Yeah.
I'll get a tattoo.
That's always like weird because what if you change your mind, right?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
The craziest fan moment for me, I don't know how you felt about it, but was when Bad Bunny wanted to come to a show, and he came to one of our like smaller shows
in Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn.
Does he reach out or the team reaches out?
His friend
Okay.
was talking to me, and then they turned up, and he was just like a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Real cool guy. And I was like, what the heck? How the hell?
Is it hard to stay grounded when you see things kind of really exploding back from playing, let's talk about like the chicken shop to like now you're playing Gub Ball, the singles exploding. Life changes a little bit for you, right? Is it hard to kind of, I'm sure there's more people now like, hey, I've got 15 friends. I need to be on the guest list. That shit always annoyed the hell out of me because it was like, it's not just you and a friend. You're asking for 15 friends.
Yeah. On the night of the show as well.
Yeah. Like 10 minutes before we go on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we get humbled
Yeah.
in ways.
All the time. And
it's not like it's not
from the inside, it just doesn't look the same as what it might from the
Yeah,
outside.
It seems different.
Yeah, we're moving around a lot. We're traveling.
Yeah.
We're staying in hotels and stuff. So yeah, it's cool. It's nice and
We're alone a lot.
yeah.
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 People don't realize what touring's like until you do it. You never really
Yeah.
understand what it's like. Do you like New York? Do you have a special place in your heart for New York?
Love
You're
New
here?
York.
Love
Yeah.
New York.
It's actually it's so nice coming here after LA just to be able to like
Yeah.
walk around.
LA is just weird. Nobody walks there. It's just
No,
weird,
it's
so
right?
weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
Good food. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to play a couple songs, which I'm really excited about. But before then, we do these top 5 lists that are always really fun, and they kind of go viral, and people love to debate them for hours. So we're going to talk about your top 5 duos in music besides yourself, because we could put you into that list, but we're going to go Royel Otis's favorite top 5 duos of all time. And we could start with number 5 or number 1 or
cool.
however you guys want to do it.
Number 5, I reckon.
I like Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Nice.
what is it? I Got You, Babe.
Yeah.
That song is like. Also, the Alessi brothers.
Alessi Brothers.
Yeah, what makes these people like, some of your top favorites?
That Seabird is just an incredible
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
That's like the perfect song for me. I don't
Yeah.
know. It like
Yeah.
suits every occasion. Hall & Oates.
Oh, no. Would that be number 3? Or I don't even know
Let's-
what number 1 was.
Let's go 5.
Number 1 for me would be.
Or we're going backwards. now.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
going
I don't even know
Wait,
what.
number 5?
Well, we
What's
did.
it-
I think we did 5 and 4,
did
so we're on
5,
3.
4,
Let's go.
3.
What's Hall & Oates?
Hall & Oates 3.
Number 3.
Three.
Okay. What about Hall & Oates connected with you besides their
people-
incredible songs?
People, it's funny. People has said that we remind them of Hall & Oates before, but
Yeah, I think it's because your name's Otis.
my mom's last name's Oates. No lie.
There you go.
That's
But
funny.
I don't know. Like
So-
that Rich Girl is such a sick song.
Amazing
Yeah,
song.
yeah. I
Although
know,
I
their
never really-
melodies are so good.
Amazing. Although I never really understood what John Oates did in the band. It was really about Daryl Hall to me because
Yeah.
I just felt like it was really Daryl Hall doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But
Yeah.
either way, amazing songs.
Yeah, it worked. It worked for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Daft Punk.
Daft Punk.
Number
Amazing.
2.
Yeah.
For me, number 1's Death Grips. I
Really.
just love Death Grips.
And what about Death Grips is your number 1?
Just how like reckless and just like they just seem like unhinged or no limits. They just seem to do whatever they want and like swing songs to wherever they want, however they want. It's just like it's just cool, and they do it so sick that
Yeah.
it just gives you so much energy and like gusto to go about the day.
Yeah. Were you inspired by bands like the Black Keys and the White Stripes, or did you just think we want a band, or we're just going to be us two?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I don't know why. We just decided to go.
just don't really
duo.
trust anyone else. Really.
It's just two of you against the world. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I guess the top 5 cover songs, and by which artist, and what they'd be, because you guys have done some incredible songs. We mentioned Linger, we mentioned Murder on the Dance Floor. So do you have a top 5 cover songs of all time, and the artist and why?
Number 1 for me, I don't know about you, but definitely Sinead O'Connor. Nothing compares to
Yeah.
you. You know, that's
That's
that is
good.
flawless.
A lot of people don't know the origin of that song.
Yeah, it's like that, like Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know it's
A
Prince.
lot of people don't know that.
I'd say Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley.
Oh yeah,
My number 1.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I reckon that's one of the best guys.
One of the best voices ever in
Yeah.
music.
ugh.
I went to school with Jeff Buckley.
No,
And I didn't know he was in my
didn't.
class. I got really upset when I just found out. And it was really, somebody said to me, "Do you know he was in your class?" I was like, "How did you not tell me?"
Really?
Yeah.
That is-
That's
Incredible.
insane.
Yeah.
I had dinner with a guy that was on the boat with him that night.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Incredible artist.
Yeah.
Very sad. Number 3 for you.
Number 3.
Evan Dando from the Lemonheads does a cover of Misfits Skulls.
Okay.
I
yeah.
love that cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great track. Great
It's
band.
so good.
Um,
That Stripped Down is, yeah.
Yeah. Number 4.
DMA's cover of Do You Believe? Or Believe, I think it's just called
Mm.
Believe.
And
That's
number
good. How do you-
5.
Number 5.
I thought of one just before and now it's escaped me.
Well, I love Mazzy Star, but I'm not going to, and your cover is great, but I'm not going to say that, but
Yeah.
I'll leave that
I'm
up
not
to
gonna-
you.
No, I don't think that
I don't think we
fits in
did
the top
justice.
5. You know? Actually, Paris, Texas is another duo that I really love at the moment, which is more.
Yeah,
But
that's the last question. But
we've
yeah,
gone beyond that.
Yeah.
We've gone beyond that.
Just trying
That-
to. Julie Jacqueline's cover "Someday" is really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, and Only Love Can Break Your Heart by Saint Etienne.
Amazing. And because we spoke a little bit about Australia and the U.S., are there like slang and terms that use in Australia that no one uses here? That like your top 5 Aussie slang words that just no one really knows here? I got a lot of friends from Australia. I don't know what they're saying half the time, but
So my girlfriend says sometimes. What do we say? Do you guys say? We say hell yeah. Do you like?
hell yeah.
Yeah, you guys say that there. Right?
I think that's an LA term. I feel like it's an.
Did you say heaps?
Heaps? No,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
good one. That could be number
Like-
5.
Or
Heaps.
cane.
Cane?
Cane. Like
Like
we're
you
heaps
cane?
cane.
No. What
We're
is that?
heaps
Wait,
cane.
we're heaps cane.
Cane.
Yeah.
What does that? What does that mean?
It's like
oh,
we're
heaps
down.
keen.
We're down.
Keen.
Yeah, cane.
No, we don't say that, but I like that. Heaps keen. I might
Heaps
use
keen.
that after this. Yeah.
Sweet as. We say sweet as. People.
Sweet as.
Sweet as.
So how do you use sweet as? And
If you be like, I'll see you later. I'll be like, sweet as.
Sweet
okay.
as.
Yeah.
What's I can't think of any now, but there's crazier ones that I've spoken to with people recently that it's just like just doesn't make sense.
Well, there's all those cliche ones from years ago. I used to the shrimp and the Barbie. I don't know what the
Yeah,
hell
See,
is
that's
that.
like
Yeah.
Right.
for starters, we don't even say shrimp.
Yeah.
Like we
Prawns?
say prawns.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I first met my girlfriend, I'd say, I'll see you in the Arvo, and which is
Yeah.
like short for afternoon. Arvo.
Catch you the other.
Yeah.
I catch you in the other.
Arvo. Just short for afternoon.
Oh yeah.
ARVO.
What are you saying?
Ava. I'll catch you in the Ava.
Yeah, see
Yeah, I
the
like
Avo.
that.
Yeah.
After this, you're gonna hear me only speaking like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet
that's
as.
right.
Cane.
Blake knows a lot of them,
Yeah.
but I can't think of them now.
Did Doozy ever come here?
No, I don't
Doozy.
even know what that is.
Doozy. Is that
You mean
sick?
Sick.
Yeah.
Doozy.
Doozy. Cool.
amazing? Well, this new record is it a doozy? Is that appropriate to say?
I mean,
It's
it
a great
is
record.
doozy,
Is that
yeah.
it's a thanks for coming on, and we'll see you in just a moment. Royel Otis with Car.
Wouldn't wanna waste your time. I'll call you if I change my mind. I'm trying not to be unkind, so wanted you back on my side. Never wanna make you cry, pretending everything's alright. Couldn't have you on my doorstep, I wouldn't wanna waste your time. Yeah, I'll meet you in the car on the corner, but we know it's gotta change sometime. You know I love the taste of your water, but I think it's time to say goodbye. Yeah, I'll meet you in the car on the corner, but you're never gonna change my mind. You know I wanna stay, but you gotta leave it, 'cause it don't feel right this time around. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Slipping through the streets all night, so bruising from your chalk skin bites. Meet you in the car for 5, not sleeping at your place tonight. Monday's always on my mind, pretending everything's alright. Couldn't have you on my doorstep, I wouldn't wanna waste your time. Yeah, I'll meet you in the car on the corner, but we know it's gotta change sometime. You know I love the taste of your water, but I think it's time to say goodbye. Yeah, I'll meet you in the car on the corner, but you're never gonna change my mind. You know I wanna stay, but you gotta leave it, 'cause it don't feel right this time around. Couldn't let you stay, you know I hate this game. It's tearing me apart, hard this time. Couldn't let you stay, you know I hate this game. It's tearing me apart, hard. Yeah, I'll meet you in the car on the corner, but we know it's gotta change sometime. You know I love the taste of your water, but I think it's time to say goodbye. Yeah, I'll meet you in the car on the corner, but you're never gonna change my mind. You know I wanna stay, but you gotta leave it, cause it don't feel right this time around.
Great track, by the way. Incredible track on the new record, Car. You heard it here first.